Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, Meathead. And the YouTubers will still complain.
They should fuck themselves.
Well, I know that, but I mean, but I want this product to be 100 years from now. So but anyway, it's interesting. The kids, your mama's leg, blah, blah, blah. They think it's you, but not them. That's the irony. You know, they think I'm busting your chops, but it doesn't have anything to do with them because they're not in the room. They don't listen to what I say, and it's, you know, at least you're here. The YouTubers are, you know, God knows, but they're worse off because, you know, they're not. You took action to get here 2 times, okay? But they somehow delude themselves. We hear what we want to hear in life. I mean, those of you that have been married, I mean, or were married, are married, or going to get married again, we delude ourselves by hearing what we want to hear to reinforce that we didn't make a mistake, whatever, you know. It's the same when you have kids. I mean, it's easier to justify when kids say something, you never know what's going to come out of their mouth. But with adults, our kids are, you know, adults now in late 30s, but occasionally they still say something that you don't know what's going to come out of their mouth because the resentment, animosity, because I was always gone, comes out after a few drinks. So this is the first Christmas that Sally and I will be with the kids in 70 Christmases. Sally's not looking forward to it. I'm not. Not because we don't want to be with the kids, but a few drinks, they all, you know, they all follow in father's footsteps. They all drink. And so you never know what's going to come out their fucking mouth. You just never know. Now, it'll be more hurtful to Sally than me, you know, because I don't want to give a shit. Sally is closer to the end of the continuum where she'd rather be like, especially by the kids, where I don't expect and I've never demanded, and I probably don't deserve to be loved by the kids. I remember when we were in China, in Chinese, Derek, who spoke Chinese, they went to the University of Shanghai, he's telling the other Chinese kids for the deputy, whatever he was, the guy that was touring us around, Derek didn't know how to translate in Mandarin what he was saying. He says, my dad, you know, he wants our respect when we're in our 30s or 40s. And so the Chinese kids didn't believe it. So then they asked me, Mr. Peña, they didn't speak Chinese, English as well as Derek spoke Chinese. And he says, is that true? I said, yes. And so the deputy chairman, little Chinese guy, nice guy, and he said he couldn't believe that because most of the Asian culture, not all the Asian culture, but most of the Asian culture, the kids are the pension plan. You know, they're raised up to support. And fine, if that's how you're raised up and that's your benchmark, fine. But it's certainly not our kids, and they're not in any way, shape, manner, or form have they ever been suggested that they should take care of us when we get old. And so it was a shock to this very senior guy in the Chinese government, and then he passed it on. And the Mr. Peña, you know, I said, rightly or wrongly, respect transcends love. Love is, you know, you have for a baby to protect it, but when they get old, in the Asian culture, you know, as I've said, you know, when your teeth fall out, and back in caveman day, the young caveman people would chew the food and then put it in their mouth so when they didn't have any teeth. But we're way past that. I mean, by about, I don't know, 100 or 200,000 years. But my father, God rest his soul, he never, ever, ever expected me to love him. I think the word love came out of our mouths 3 times, and it was all at the end of his life. It came out of my mouth twice and his mouth once. Love you, Dad. He turned and looked at me like, what the fuck? I mean, and if I remember correctly, and I know I did, he turned to Sally and says, why did he say that? Now just think about this. You're 89 now, Manny. Oh, I get it. And then he says, love you back, son. He didn't mean that. Fuck, not even iota. But my dad's generation, I saw 2 tears come down his cheeks. Once when we buried his older brother, a cheek, when they're doing the eulogy. Somebody else was doing the eulogy. I got up and gave a later eulogy. I saw a cheek roll down this cheek. A tear, excuse me, roll down this cheek. And when we buried his sister, I saw a tear roll down this cheek. 2 tears in 91 years. 2 tears in 91 years. One word, love, one time. I said it twice, he said it once. A different generation, you know? And that's same in Latino familias. I mean, love and hugging and that shit is, you know, it's like you brush your teeth. But not his brothers and sisters and himself. And the older cousins, those 3 of us, 2 girls and myself, that just wasn't part of the... In fact, my 2 older cousins never got married, never had kids. Both very good-looking women. They were professionals, I think they call it, you know. They wanted to make it in the business world, and they did. But so it's a different generation than what's we're producing now. It's a different world. It's a different world. Questions, comments? Croat, you got something to say? I mean, God damn it, I'm going to have to get a Russian tuxedo. I can see right now.
Central casting. I thought Adam...
Well, pick up the mic.
I thought for a second Adam had one more question about government contracts. That's what he was saying to me. So Adam, don't be shy. Are you want to ask at least once?
No more. I think that central casting has an opportunity with government contracts.
Oh, fuck.
KGB.
Yeah.
I don't have any questions. It was a wonderful experience.
Good.
Give it to me.
He's not done talking yet.
You are so Christian.
And you're not.
I'm also Christian.
Yes,
but I practice in my way down.
Don't accuse people. It's like an alcoholic accusing another guy of being an alcoholic. You know?
But he tries to.
Yeah. You should be, from this point forward, at least a partially recovering pleaser. You know, that'll get you closer to my end of the continuum. But go ahead.
I wanted to thank you for a wonderful week. I think we've all, if I can speak on all of us, on behalf of all of us, thank you. It was a fantastic week. We learned a lot. I feel turbocharged and really...
I appreciate the thanks, but if you don't go out and do something, it doesn't mean shit to me.
100%.
I mean, it just doesn't. And it's... Sally says I shouldn't keep saying that I can't see if it's getting any better, but I've been saying that for 2 or 3 years now, and it keeps getting better for us. It's unbelievable. And vis-a-vis 1993, when I started all this, I mean, it's almost like a superpower has set up over the last 29 years this model to succeed. And when I talk to, the 2 or 3 billionaire guys that can't still believe that you can buy people's business with their own money, it goes against their religion, or whatever. And they say, well, it must work because you're still doing it. And they know me well enough. If it didn't work, I wouldn't still be doing it. And that's absolutely correct. If in the early years, it took some effort sometimes to get it to work. But we've gone through high interest rates. We've gone through 5 cycles, 7. I've been through 7 cycles in my whole career. But this model has gone through, with you guys, through 5 cycles. It's gone through 7 cycles, counting my experience, the previous 20 years. But the fucker works. It's quite remarkable. But they're still asking me, just like the first time, where's the equity come from? Who's writing the fucking check? I should have kept track with a clicker or something, how many times I've been asked that question. It's not a million, but it's certainly in the tens of thousands. And your answer is directly or indirectly through our board and or our professional advisors. Directly or indirectly through our board and or a professional advisor, which is honest to goodness truth. As my grandmother used to say about lying, she said, you're telling the truth when it hurts somebody. And when I was little, I didn't really appreciate that. But having been with you guys, with your thin skin and the lack of your emotional bank account, I understand what you're saying. Because for you to tell the truth to your wife, to your father-in-law, or whoever the fuck, it's going to hurt them emotionally. 100% absolute. No qualifications or reservations. And some of you will deal with it better in the beginning, and some of you won't. And I don't want you to be on the 10, 12-year program. And it's funny, the most successful in recent years have been Germanic, stroke, Bible thumper, Asian, okay? But the two slowest were also Germanic, both Austrians, one Bavarian and one Austrian, 12 and 13 years. But I've told you, the Austrian had not a silver spoon, but a platinum spoon in his mouth because he came from one of the richest families in Austria. And the German, you've heard the story about Bavarian Bob, that used to write formulas why it didn't work. And then he got in a room with a bunch of other Germans, and 6 or 7, and he said, God, I guess it works. But it's interesting. He took their word at face, listened to them one fucking time. He came to me 12 seminars, although he never called me a liar, but 10, 15 minutes with a fucking few Nazis, and it overrode the 12 seminars he had been to, and it must work now.
You should give a seminar in German.
Pardon?
You should give a seminar in German.
I used to give seminars at Heathrow. I had 2 German interpreters. One was Bodo Schaefer, and one was an American. His name escapes me now. And we'd have 75, 80% of the audience was German. Just after the wall came down, East German, Eastern Bloc. And to me, this is an exaggeration, they all look like Khrushchev to me. Short, bald, with top coats and sacks of money. I never asked where the money came from. Money laundering wasn't a problem in the early 90s, as it is today. But I don't get requests every week, but I get a few requests a month. Am I now taking CryptoFuck to pay for the seminar? Well, my answer is what it was before, and it is now. No, we're not taking CryptoFuck to pay for the seminar. But guys, the opportunity is great. Other question? Yes.
Yes. When you run for UK president,
Not president, prime minister.
or prime minister, do you think the citizens of UK will understand your message?
Our feedback so far after a year is not over 98% positive, which surprises everybody. They have to get through not killing the messenger to accept the message. But 98% is pretty fucking high. And to date, nobody has brought up, I'm a foul-mouthed asshole. They've brought up that I'm not in support of some of the things that they would like me to be in support, but I'm in support of veterans. I'm in support of old people. I'm in support that we need a migration program that works for both sides, which is probably impossible. They know I'm in support for even-handed taxes, not proportionate higher taxes for the poor as opposed to the rich. But anybody will agree with that. So my platform is pretty bog standard. But to date, I asked them, how's your program worked out? Because nobody seems to be able to get it done. So far, my support, I've had 7 or 8 articles written in newspapers about me, all positive. Not one fucking negative. Which, people that have known me here 30, 40 years can't believe it. Now, there's 2 theories, schools of thought, why nobody will talk bad about me. Because they're afraid of me. But if I have to get elected just on fear, fine. I don't want that to be, but they're afraid of me because, I will neither confirm nor deny some of the things that I'm accused of. And the second day is that I'm spot on. It's my time, or not my time. It's a time that people are willing to accept. The system's fucked up, but the system's fucked up. There's certain things in the British politics. The House of Lords is outdated. They've changed the House of Lords a couple times. It's not hereditary now. Blah blah blah. Okay, but it took them 300 years to do that. I don't have 300 years. I got about 2 years. Up here, for the most part, Angus is the third richest county in Scotland. I mean, everybody's fat, dumb, and happy. But I've committed to bring £1 billion here. In hindsight, I probably should have only said 100 million pounds because people can't relate to £1 billion. But in the two focus groups we've had, one lady who articulated it probably best, Mr. Peña, how are you going to get people to vote for you that don't like you? And I said, well, quite simply, they either have to not like where they are more than they don't like me. And the audience seemed to get that. Yeah. I mean, and how's your program worked out? But I have a couple of projects. I have no problem getting money here, but you have to deal with the councils here, not just here, but in England. And so I have to bring the councils into the solution. Candidly, I haven't figured that out yet. But I will. And the postponing of the election, because Boris got tossed out, and now we have the former Chancellor of the Exchequer that's Prime Minister. But where there's a will, there's a way. And the good thing is I'm not accepting any donations. And one of the major parties has already offered to fund me. I don't need your money. I fund myself. I want to be in an office where I don't owe anybody anything, which is, I'm not sure anybody's ever run for politics in Britain that has done that, because I don't need their fucking money. I just don't. But it's early days, but so far, no negative press. And hope's not a strategy, but whether they're afraid of me and I get elected, I don't give a fuck. I want to be in office. That's all I know. But my message is clear. And the focus group we had for Little Guthrie Village, we had people that came up to me and said, we've never voted before, but we're going to vote for you. And they don't vote, and they announced it very clearly. And the focus group was online. Kat was there to film it. And is that we don't think our vote means anything because we haven't been able to change anything. This SNP has been here for 16 years approximately, and they haven't done shit. And I'm not there, so it's hard for me to say I'm not walking in their shoes. But why you get thrown out because you stole 1,100 pounds? Why you get thrown out? I can understand, fucking a 19-year-old. I can relate to that more, than stealing 1,100 pounds. But they do stupid things because there's no real accountability. No real accountability. Now, Nicola Sturgeon, I'm sure she's an honest gal, but she hasn't done shit. And I've challenged the two members of Parliament. They won't even see me. They've written me letters. We will not participate in anything that will enhance your political career. I've challenged the two MPs and Nicola Sturgeon to a debate, 3-on-1. I'll eat them it'll be like fucking Normandy. I'll kill them. I'll eat them fucking alive. And they know it. And my chairman of my committee, former Ambassador Collins, says they're afraid because they don't know what you're going to say. Because you'll say anything. But yeah. I mean, I'll fucking eat them for breakfast. And so, a long-winded answer. I'm looking forward to it. I'd like to debate all three at once. It'll be a bloodbath. I mean, they'll carry him out. Paramedics will fucking carry him out. And I'm a little joke for the YouTube. I'll fucking choke him. which I'm accused of back in my youth, which there's no proof, there's no movies, there's no films. Those are just ugly rumors. I would never assault, another human being like that. Other question. Yes, sir.
It's totally unrelated, and I don't need the nitwits from YouTube to hear it. You'll understand why. Do you have any recommendations of private clubs in France?
Oh, God. I have to go back to my records, but there's a couple in Paris. One is a Playboy club, but almost all the rich guys belong. And one is a business club. But I have to go back, but there's two. There's two. And the era of sophistication ends at the door. When you walk in. The French know how to have fun, and when they get off their fucking bloody high horse. But it's like Total is dragging their feet about selling Russian assets.
Total or Danone?
Pardon?
Danone or Total?
Total.
Not the ice cream one.
No, the ice cream is not dragging their feet. Okay, Total, the energy company.
Obviously, you don't want to sell it.
Yeah.
Just waiting for it to.
Yeah. But we're gonna do some deals there. Hopefully more than, again, hope isn't the strategy. But there's no competition right now. We're juxtaposed, not perfectly, because nothing's perfect, but we're in the right place at the right time. We have the right team, and we've got the right 2 or 3 guys at the head. We've got 2 former ambassadors to Russia. We've got Simon the Bell, who's used to doing billion-dollar deals. We've got myself. We've got 2 extremely prestigious law firms and 1 prestigious Big 4 accounting firm. So we're well poised.
You're looking at any type of industry?
We don't give a shit.
Manufacturing, because you keep saying you don't do anything.
Anything. And right now, the former Boeing guys that are there, Boeing's not paying them anymore. Okay, so and for most people, even when you're a senior executive in these big companies, you more or less live paycheck to paycheck. You don't think all of a sudden your big salary is going to end one day. And most of these guys have not been paid since February, March, whenever Putin started the Ukraine fiasco. And they're hungry. And they look to see, and the examples we can give, legitimate examples where, the kids, you have made a shit ton of money in a very short period of time. And worst case scenario, we have 5-6 years. Best case scenario, we got about 10 years. And the very best case scenario is, they don't ever get them back, the assets. But in the meantime, whoever takes over these assets, and all the 99% of all the assets that are being sold are shitting money with cash flow. So, we don't have to be so discerning. I'm not saying we're picking anything, but we don't have to be so discerning because they're all just not bleeding blood, but bleeding money. There's a big difference. And when you're paying a fucking ruble, it's like shooting fish in a barrel and taking candy from a baby, or both. I'm not sure which is better, shooting fish in a barrel or candy from a baby, but either one of them are pretty good. And there's not a lot of people competing. So, that's even a better case. Pardon? Then roll up. Okay. That's the plan. Assets first, roll up second. So whether the fake news is everybody's fine, Putin's not shitting his pants and dying of cancer, we know that these 13,000 companies are up. So, even the Now he could be the KGB misinformation officer, you know. But he was in Russia recently, right? Yeah. So, you know, he may be actually spitting out, along with the fake information to throw us off track. There's, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire. Smoke this, and he comes with his fucking Ruski tuxedo. He reminds me. He looks like the doorman at the Metropole. When I was in Moscow, I told you this, and we're sitting down having breakfast, and I was there early, and they've got a water goblet about this big. I thought was water, and there's some of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life strewn around the dining room for breakfast. So today was one of my off pill days, so I didn't take any pills today. But I'm taking pills, and it's vodka, and they start early in the morning, and there's no there's no end to the alcohol. But we used to stay at the Metropole, but I don't know, I haven't been there a long time, so I don't know if it's, I'm told it's still a great hotel there. And a lot of beautiful girls strutting around Moscow. And I'm sure they're hardworking girls. But these old fucks look like Gorbachev, fat tums of shit, with these gorgeous, I mean, more than gorgeous females as partners. I'm sure it's, their administrative assistants, it's their nieces or whatever, whatever they're saying now. Other questions?
I think you can have a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Well, Sally, you heard Sally, those of you that were sitting close enough. She says, it's Dan's business. He's going to take care of it, She has no intention of coming down anytime early. So, I'm sure I'm mature enough to take care of it. Certainly, YouTube, I've told all the people that are looking to me to do this, I am mature enough, so I'm not a kid. I've got the maturity and gravitas to get the shit done. Yeah. Other questions, comments? I'm happy to go to sleep early, guys. It doesn't bother me, so don't feel obligated to keep me up.
Come on, Canada.
He's just hugging the pillows.
When do you visit Switzerland?
Pardon?
When do you visit Switzerland?
Visit? You mean visit?
Yeah.
Didn't he just say visit? When I was doing stuff for Siemens, I was there quite often. But I mean, Sally and I love Switzerland, and we've attended 2 or 3 big auctions for diamonds and shit like that. And Sally's personal, Christie's person, not person, a Christie representative that sells big diamond shit as honor like a leech. So if Sally's in New York, she's in New York. If Sally's in Switzerland, she's in Switzerland. If Sally's in, Paris, this girl's in Paris. And I'm not taking anything away from her. She knows that Sally is not a suspect. She is a prospect that has bought many times. I'm sure we will be in Switzerland this coming year. And we haven't gone to the Clinique Paris in a few years. Although I'm not due for stem cells anytime soon. And I've told you I've had stem cells 5 times, dating back to the 80s when they first were kind of Neanderthal kind of. But I don't feel any different, but I certainly don't look like my contemporaries. I'm much more functional. I'm still pretty active, and I'm still pretty strong. So some people would say, I thought stem cells were going to make my hair not gray. That didn't work out. But I thought I'd have dark hair like I once did a long time ago. I started out blonde. I was like a white blonde. Then it was dark blonde. Then it was light brown. Then it was dark brown. Then it was kind of blackish. And now, I think arguably I have white hair now. I like to consider it white, not gray, but you make your own choice. But Switzerland is a very lovely country that it's very difficult to get shit done because they're in slow motion.